Okay, time for my favorite part of the week, the picks. Let's see if we can make a little money on this week 12. Got 4 games I'm having a bet on. Seem to be losing my voice here a little bit. Hopefully that's not going to adversely affect me in the live stream here. It probably will, that we do on Sundays, of course, during the 1 o'clock games. If you haven't tuned into the live stream yet, this Sunday will be a perfect opportunity because if my voice keeps going in this same direction, you'll have plenty of chances to give me a hard time or whatever. I'm going to need all the questions and interactions I can get because I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it going for 4 hours. Like I said, it seems to be fading fast on me, but I'm sure we still got enough to get through this pick segment here. Again, there are 4 games I'm having a bet on Sunday. I want to start in the AFC. The Buffalo Bills going on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis installed as a 3-point favorite in this game on BETDAQ. I do like the Buffalo Bills. Listen, I think the Colts are still a bit overrated. I'm impressed with what the Colts have done this year. I did not expect them to be near as good as they are, but I still don't think they're as good as their record would indicate. You look at the 4-game win streak they had that came to an end last week in New England, they really didn't beat any good teams. Miami at the time, you thought that was a good win, but the way the Dolphins have been playing since, now you wonder if that's a good win. I'm not saying Buffalo is a good team, but the Bills have been playing some pretty good football recently. Now, they beat Miami last week, but even their 2 games before then, on the road in New England, on the road in Houston, the 2 best teams in the AFC, maybe, with apologies to Denver. And Buffalo played really well in both of those games. They really should have won that New England game, had a chance to, came down to the last play. And Houston, you wouldn't say they should have won that game, but they hung with the Texans on the road for nearly the entire game. So Buffalo's been playing better. I believe they're a little better than their record would indicate. They are 4-6 right now. And I do like them. I like them on Sunday to go into Indianapolis and get a road win. I know the Colts have been better at home than they have on the road this season, as you'd expect with a rookie quarterback. But the Colts' main weakness is run defense. And the Buffalo Bills can really run the football. Fred Jackson expected back this week. C.J. Spiller is going to get the start. Bills top 10 in the league in rushing offense. The Colts have struggled with teams that can run the football. I like Buffalo to go into Indianapolis and pull off the upset. I like Buffalo +3. Next game, also in the AFC, the Oakland Raiders going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. This game's a bit of a risk, admittedly. Anytime you bet on the Oakland Raiders, it's a risk. And I do like Oakland this week, +9.5 in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, a 9.5-point favorite on BETDAQ. It's Carson Palmer's homecoming. Carson Palmer, of course, the Raiders quarterback who had spent his entire career in Cincinnati. And, Palmer's been playing well this season, and I don't see any reason why that's going to stop on Sunday. He's thrown for nearly 290 yards per game. And it's not like I have any great faith in the Raiders. They're last in the league in points per game allowed, and their last 2 games, they've allowed their highest point totals of the season, so they don't appear to be trending in a good direction on defense. But the Raiders have played pretty well on the road at times this season. Remember, they almost beat the Atlanta Falcons on the road when the Falcons were undefeated a few weeks ago. Followed that up by a dominating performance on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, I know Oakland was blown out by the Baltimore Ravens on the road as well. I'm not saying the Raiders have been great on the road. And like I said, I know this pick, anytime you bet on Oakland, would I be shocked if Oakland lost this game by 30? No, I would not. But I do believe 9.5 points. Too big a number for Cincinnati to be laying at this time. I know the Bengals have won a couple of games in a row to get back to 500, but just don't think this is that good a team. They've only covered twice in their last 15 games versus AFC opponents. Should they be laying this big a number? I don't think so. And quite frankly, out in Vegas, this number is not quite this big, not quite 9.5. It's about a point lower. Been hovering around 8.5 for the last couple of days. It is still 9.5 on BETDAQ. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if it pushed up to that 10-point barrier. But, I think Oakland is going to score enough here. They do have a pretty good offense. Again, Carson Palmer is going to be very motivated coming back to Cincinnati, and he's been playing well this season. The Bengals only average on defense. So I think Oakland scores enough in this game to cover this number. This could be a situation like last week's Denver-San Diego game, where Denver had a 2-touchdown lead late in the game and Chargers scored a garbage time touchdown. I wouldn't put anything like that past the Raiders. They have the type of offense that could sting you like that with a backdoor cover, or in my case, make my day with a backdoor cover, because I am backing Oakland +9.5 on the road in Cincinnati. The next game, I go from bad to worse. I'm backing Oakland, and folks, that's right, I'm actually backing the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Jacksonville +3 at home against Tennessee. As you may know, I'm from Jacksonville. We're broadcasting right now from Ponte Vedra, which is about 30 miles from Everbank Field. But I'm not a homer. I have not bet on the Jaguars one time this season. As a matter of fact, I thought this Jaguar season was going to be a disaster, and it has been more of a disaster than I think even the biggest pessimist among Jaguar fans would have thought. 1-9. More so at home. They've yet to stay within 17 points of any opponent. They've played 5 home games, 0-5, obviously 0-5 against the spread. They've lost by 17 points or more in all 5 of their home games, so maybe I should have my head examined for backing the Jaguars here, but I have a strong feeling that they're going to win. And it's the first time I've said that all year. Chad Henne, the change at quarterback. Chad Henne coming in last week for an injured Blaine Gabbert, throwing for over 350 yards on the Houston Texans. Henne's going this week. Gabbert placed on IR. Not that I have any faith in Henne. It's not that I have any great faith in Henne. I really don't. I do think he's probably better than Blaine Gabbert, who was the worst starting quarterback in the NFL over the last year and a half. But I feel some positivity now, just a faint ripple of positivity around this Jaguars team. And the Titans are not very good. You know, the Titans, it's a sell high opportunity with the Titans. And that might sound funny considering they're 4-6, but to me, public opinion of the Titans is probably higher now than it will be at any point the rest of the season, because I believe they're going to lose to Jacksonville this weekend. But Tennessee, they won their last game 37-3 on the road against Miami, and they had a bye last week. So they're 4-6. I've just heard a couple of people this week talk about how Tennessee might sneak back into the playoff picture. So people are starting to think, well, maybe this Tennessee team might not be as bad as we thought they were a few weeks ago. I think we should back up on that. I think they might be just as bad as we thought they were. They've been blown out several times this season. Jake Locker starting at quarterback here. I know he played pretty well against Miami in his last start, even though they didn't ask him to do a whole lot. But Locker's still a very green, inexperienced guy. I do not have trust in him going on the road. I don't think just because he played well in the last game, the Titans rolled in the last game and they had a bye week, I don't think that automatically means, well, they're playing well now and they're going to go on the road and roll Jacksonville. I don't think that's the way it's going to work out. The Titans, not a good team, not a trustworthy team. The Jags, I'm sure they're tired. They're tired of being kicked around by their local media, and they should be. They get blown out every home game. Like I said, I sense a little bit of positivity around this team. They haven't laid down and quit on Malarkey, as you saw last week in their game against the Houston Texans. And Malarkey announced this week that Chad Henne has a 6-game audition. If he plays well, he will be the starter going into next season, assuming Malarkey is still the coach going into next season. But I don't know. I think the Jags are going to win this week. Jaguars +3. I maybe should have my head examined betting on both the Oakland Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and those games will be going on during our live stream, so you might see me get real negative towards the end of the live stream if those teams get blown out. I might say, and the Bills the other team I'm betting on in the 1 o'clock hour, so there you go. There's my expert picks. Buffalo, Oakland, Jacksonville in the 1 o'clock games. Listen, the 4 o'clock game, I like a team that's better than those 3 teams, but they're playing a team that is really good. So you might not like my pick here either, but I do feel very good about the New Orleans Saints at home. +1 against the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco, you talk about a sell-high opportunity. This is a great sell-high opportunity with the Niners. After that performance last week against the Chicago Bears on national television, just shut down and dominated the Bears. Colin Kaepernick, really his coming out party, and Kaepernick will be getting the start this week. Hey, I thought Kaepernick looked great last week against that fierce Bears defense. This week he's facing the worst defense in the NFL statistically in the New Orleans Saints. But Kaepernick going on the road here, a real young guy, really green and inexperienced, and the Saints have such a great offense. I mean, this is the second game in a row the Saints are home underdogs, second home game in a row. Prior to their last game against Atlanta, they had gone 30-some-odd consecutive games without being underdogs at home. Yet they're still 15-3 against the spread in their last 18 home games. It's incredible. They've been favored in every one of those games but one, 15-3 against the number. The Niners, again, after last week's performance, tough to bet against them, and I think that's why they're a slim 1-point favorite here, but I don't know. Give me Drew Brees against Colin Kaepernick any day of the week. I don't care that San Francisco has maybe the best defense in the league, and the New Orleans Saints might have the worst defense in the league. You know, Kaepernick, hey, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, something like that. Or I think it's the other way around. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So Kaepernick fooled me last week. I wasn't betting against him, but I certainly did not expect a performance like that. And hey, if he goes in here and throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they're able to pull off a road win against New Orleans, I guess this time it will be my fault because I am betting against him this week despite what I saw last week. I don't like his chances. a young quarterback on the road in New Orleans. New Orleans, the toughest place in the NFL to win. I am backing the Saints +1 on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. So there you have it. Those are my 4 games, all 4 underdogs. Not one team out of the 4 has a winning record. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I do like Buffalo +3 against Indianapolis, Oakland +9.5 against Cincinnati, Jacksonville +3 against Tennessee, and New Orleans +1 against the San Francisco 49ers. I wish you best of luck this week, and whatever you decide to do, just so long as your interests don't conflict with my interests.